Welcome to Grave Load and welcome back for another week of news here. And we're going to cover, and we're going to start off with the mess that AMD created this week, which was no support for Game 1 optimizations in RDNA1 and RDNA2, just RDNA3 and 4 cards. And this, is brought on AMD. This is, you sticking your foot in your mouth, you get all of a sudden a lot of pushback, and all of a sudden, oh, we need to clarify things. And this is where you should have clarified things to begin with. You should have phrased it if you wanted to, where RDNA1 and RDNA2 is mature enough that we do not need to do as many Game 1 optimizations. But when we do need to do them, that will be based upon market needs. And that's what AMD has clarified here. New features, bug fixes, and game optimizations will continue to be delivered as requested by market needs in maintenance mode branch. So, it's still in the maintenance mode, right? But if there's a popular enough game or a game that I would say gets enough attention that has bad performance, guess what? AMD will go through and improve that performance. This is one of the things that I do not like about big companies, especially AMD here, and I'm going to pick on them a little bit because this is an article about them. While I get that you need to be developing new products and need to deliver them, what I don't like to see is that you dropping support for those people that are being committed to your product and are still using your product. If you're going to do something like this, I highly recommend you to find a way, if you want them to upgrade, into a discount path or something to make sure that they are getting what you kind of want to support them. Show that you are committed to those customers, because those customers, let's say they did buy a 6900 at that time, right, with the prices being driven up, that was mining, so they were going as high as $1,900 $1,800. And now those people that may have spent that may still want to get some use out of it, are going to be pretty frustrated that now you are throwing them away, in a sense. So this is, of course, companies got to make moves for what they want. Yeah, if you have things, but phrase it in a way where you say you're still committed to making sure that that games that are there that need the optimizations will still get the optimizations, but in maintenance mode, all the new features are going to the newer cards. That's a better way to phrase it than, what you initially did, where we're putting in maintenance mode, no game one optimizations, and everyone starts looking at their cards that has them and be like, ooh, that's not a good thing. I mean, AMD didn't just have to walk that back. I mean, they also had to walk back the whole 7900 series USB-C power without changes, So this is WCCF Tech had this too, and through Tech Power Up, AMD contacted them and said, we'd like to inform, or I think Tech Power reached out, we'd like to inform you that the release notes for AMD Software Adrenaline Edition 25.10.2 posted today included misinformation that has since been corrected. There was no change to USB-C functionality on the RX 7900 series GPUs. 25.10.2 driver. This was an incorrect line originally posted in release notes that has been removed, and the release notes have been updated. We apologize for the inconvenience. Okay. Let's take a step back here, because I'm going to be negative here again on AMD. Well, I think I'm going to be positive for the users. And the positive side of the users is AMD. Did anyone think about reading the release notes and asking questions about this before clicking, yeah, we're going to post it? So they removed it from the release notes. So guess what? They're thinking about that, right? This is one of those things where I'm just, there's quality miscontrol here, and I don't like it. If you listen to any of my Windows content about how we need to have better quality software, guess what? This goes with release notes as well. You need to make sure that we're getting those out. They need to be going through a review process, I guess, if you cannot get those out right. And walking back a statement, while that's fine, it also creates the idea out there that you are going to get rid of it. So, man, AMD is kind of sticking their foot in their mouth. But, at some point, I think the USB-C on these graphics cards, what did AMD actually want to do on them? I get display, the whole charging thing is a whole nother item where they use circuitry and everything else for that. But just get the view of what you want and the communication on what you want. Correct. This is two things that kind of are hurting your brand. Well, kind of, they are hurting your brand, right? People see this and they're going to go, because where was Nvidia's article about this, right? If you're going to start to put in graphics cards in maintenance mode, maybe do it a little bit soon, a little bit closer to when Nvidia does it, so that the articles of both going to maintenance mode are at the same time, because now people are naturally going to say, well, I'll probably focus on the green side here in the next generation. I mean, they're probably not going to say the blue side because, well, we know about that side of things. So let's move on here, and this is what I really like to see here, some Zen 6 stuff, and this is one thing I really like. So while we're going into Zen 6 a little bit, what I like to talk about here is the OpenSIL support. Now, this is a open source kind of firmware, and this has been on AMD's roadmap. I think some place a couple while back I did mention this. So something I like to see is a lot of the not just open source firmware, but the open platforms and everything else, and that's what OpenSIL is. And AMD has kind of put this out there. Now this kind of replaces a Aegis firmware that AMD has rolled out. Now Gen 6 Epic should have this. Now we'll see how well it goes through, but it looks like that the code will be released about 1 quarter later, and then Zen 6 Medusa will be on the client platform and planned for the first half of 2027. Now, I don't know if there's going to be any crossover here with some Aegis and then OpenSIL maybe upgrade throughout, or what they're going to do for this. But if they're going to have a purely everything in OpenSIL, this could be pretty interesting for AMD going forward. Now, they're going to have some Zen 4, Ryzen Phoenix stuff. And the reason why this is going to be interesting is because some of the platforms already, right in the BIOS framework, are released with a Aegis, and they already have that. So do those CPUs get any of this OpenSIL support? Will this be across everything? Are you going to constantly develop two, or are you sunsetting one, right? I'm guessing OpenSIL is going to go forward, so if OpenSIL is going to go forward, are you going to sunset? These are a lot of questions I do have. I didn't watch the full presentation here on the OPC Global Summit. I was just reading some articles on video cards, Tech Power Up, WCCF, all over the place, trying to get some more information on this. But I like to see, they say it's more transparency, and I agree. I think more transparency in this realm is a good thing, and hopefully what it leads to is maybe some cleaning up of things. We talked about, what was it, like UBIOS from China that they're kind of developing. What happens if we go a step further? And, this would be Microsoft and Linux and everybody else and AMD and Intel all saying, you know what? UEFI is great, but we have to start making a better BIOS to begin with, and maybe that is another generation, maybe after UEFI, getting that clean up with some of the open source stuff. I like to have, what is it, Core Boot? I'm blanking on the name here. I think it's one of those things out there that's like an open source BIOS. You can start doing that. Maybe we get there to something a lot cleaner, and it's going to be maybe something even more secure, better. You kind of get rid of some of the legacy stuff that may have had some of those security issues. Of course, you could always introduce new ones, but you're trying to eliminate as many as possible. But there's something out there, and something I want to talk about, because I think that there can be more oversight to just the firmware, and seeing, hey, you might have an issue here, let's try to fix it. And I think that would be a huge deal to the community. Now, AMD has also released driver updates for their graphics cards, so you're going to get some more support for the Ryzen AI 5 330, and then some Battlefield 6. That was in the beta before. Now this is an official one. And then the Vampire Masquerade. They did some more extended Vulkan stuff. Of course, this is where it's gone through, and we had all the other stuff fall out from this. So just want to mention the driver update that they had there as well. What else do we have from Nvidia here? Or Nvidia was the next tab I was looking at. Not what I wanted to go to, but I wanted to go to AMD stuff. Now, this is, AMD loves to, well, a lot of people like to rebrand, a lot of companies, but the Ryzen 10 and Ryzen 100 are going to get some rebrands. So there's going to be some rebrands there. So you're going to get, the Ryzen 5000 is also going to be Ryzen 100, and then the Ryzen 2 stuff is going to be Ryzen 10 now. It was Ryzen 4000 on the desktop, and that's going to be coming to a laptop near you soon. And I am okay with AMD rebranding or releasing stuff as long as it goes to the low end and it's clearly stated. It's a different, and it is, right? We don't have 100 really anywhere else. We don't have 10 anywhere else. So these rebrands kind of show that, hey, they are completely some other product. And Ryzen AI 300, right? That's the new Zen 5, and Ryzen 200 or Ryzen 8000 or 7000, depending upon which product you are, is Zen 4. So the rebrands, they did not mesh them into the same numbers, which I like better than you trying to take some Zen 3 Plus, Zen 2, Zen 4, and put them all in the AI 300, which they would not support. So I will say this, the AMD did a little better than expected in some of these rebrands here, making sure that they keep the names at least a little bit cleaner. But, a rebrand's a rebrand. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but it's something to pay attention to see how a company rebrands, because maybe they might be fixing some of the naming stuff that I complain about a lot. Now, AMD finally gets out the AI Pro Radeon card, the R9700, for $1,200 at retail. This is finally launching, 32 gigs of RAM. And so if you want something on the Pro side, the AI side, here you have it. And we've been waiting for this for a while, and we're finally getting there now. And I really don't, I think I have too much else, but I want to be moving on here. But I got to mention this because this is just, again, this the 16 pin adapter for the Sapphire RX 9700 XT Nitro Plus. Yeah, this is not good. The whole top of the connector melted, and now the car still powers on, but does not play games. This was an article I read on WCCF Tech. Also saw it on video cards, and I'm just like, this. Oh, man, the 8-pin connectors were pretty reliable. I know they take up more space, but oh man, they were reliable. Let's maybe stay with it. Uh, this is one of those things where I'm very concerned about how this is going to continue to go about these pins. I think they're going to have to come out with another connector or something, make sure that this is cleaned up. Uh, I don't know. Like, this is, uh, I don't like this at all. Like, this has to get cleaned up. We have to get a connector here that works and works reliably. If you can't do that, then let's stick with 8-pin. I'm at that point because, yeah, we can't keep dealing with people melting things. This does get into a safety issue at some point, right? Because you're melting plastics and everything else, and if it does start a fire, I think at some level these companies will have to be held liable because they, we've been plugging in PCI connectors for years, especially 8-pins. We all know how to do it. And while on the off chance you may have a mistake on one of them, it's not, I don't think the calculation of that, I'd have to, look at it a little bit deeper, is that to the melting rate of some of these cards that are going on right now, even still to this day, which are less than the last generation. So with what is it? Not the 12 volt high power, but yeah, the 12 volt high power. So that's what it was. Now it's still at 12 by 6 by 2, and then you have yeah, the melting's got to stop, right? This 16 port connector melted the top row. Interesting, just the top row. But on the last AMD story here, AMD lands a major U.S. government deal for supplying MI355X and MI450 AI chips in the next-gen supercomputer here. So this is a DOE supercomputer. This will be I think on the, it's going to be called Discovery. So I think Frontier was the old one. And this is going to be a high-end stuff. So they are going to be multiple collaborations. So it could also bring Nvidia hardware in the future. But right now, AMD is the choice that they chose. Interesting that they decided to go this route, considering everything going on. But nevertheless, you know, you have Intel going through and getting some government money in the form of, you know, government investment, right, of what that is. And then here you have the government saying we're going to, you know, go through and have AMD be that one for this new supercomputer. Now, you could have some of the Intel stuff, but what they kind of got in the AI side. Really, the AI side is Nvidia, then AMD there in distant second place, and you got everyone else trying to create something from that there. But let's jump into Nvidia here before we go on too long. Right, today we already we're already going through. There's still a lot more to get through, but Nvidia has released some more optimizations for 7 more games through the Nvidia app. And yeah, you have the Nvidia app downloaded. You're going to get some optimization, some more DLSS overrides, 11 more games there, and some more bugs. Good to see Nvidia keeping that up. And let's see what else. I know I had another Nvidia article here as well, because Nvidia has been going through and been in the news a little bit about stuff. Oh yeah, this is the one where Nvidia and Samsung are building an AI factory to accelerate technologies. One thing I think about here is that Nvidia is trying to do some not just AI stuff, but also doing, to more advanced work on helping them in different areas to be able to help them transition, not just robotics, I'd say, but also making sure, hey, can we get breakthroughs in different areas, especially on the manufacturing side, maybe lithography and everything else, right? Neowin had this article and stuff and put some of that in there where they're trying to increase that. And if you can get some of the research and help you get a better result, I would say, from manufacturing side to help you compete, especially with TSMC, the clear leader right now. This is one thing that would really help them, get the manufacturing closer and get moved to that, closing the gap there with TSMC to help be another manufacturer, because you could see a world where you get a couple different manufacturers that get close to TSMC, then we get some real competition there as well. Nvidia has unveiled a partnership with Nokia. Now we're going with 6G connectivity, the next generation here, and of course they're going to have some AI stuff, right? In here, and these are AI powered consumer experiences and enterprise services at the edge. And together, Nvidia and Nokia are laying a strategic infrastructure, opening up new high growth frontiers for telecom providers by delivering distributed edge interfaces at scale. So that is what it's talked about there for the 6G software and it's being ran on CUDA, right? Of course, that's going to be one of the power platforms here, but that's kind of how this is going to go. We're going to have AI in the things until they move it into something else. So, yeah, there. A couple interesting stories. More corporate side stuff with NVIDIA, a little bit of gaming, but that's, not too much this week. They had some other corporate stuff, but I'm trying to trim this down a little bit today. Intel, let's jump over there. 14A, they say, is outperforming 18A a year ahead of its debut. They said that they're saying it's off to a great start. Maturity is really good, better than 18A at this time. and CFO was really excited about this. Intel itself is really excited about this, and my whole thing is let's just make sure we go through and get some products on this thing, right? Uh, as products come out, we're going to see how it performs. If they can get some other people to manufacture on it, great. If not, I know they keep pushing, like we have a client here, we have a client there, but I need to see something manufactured on Intel stuff here at some point instead of just keep saying we got a client, right? If the client doesn't ever build anything on it, is it really a client, right? I want to see something like that. Now, Intel did mention this too, is that Intel's chip supply will be depleted by Q1 of 2026, the CFO says. They say that their CPU or consumer or PC and server demand skyrocketed beyond their expectations. Now, I would like to see some of the numbers on this, and I'm sure that we'll have some of those there as well. And maybe it's just, they're just trying to clean out everything before they go to the next generation stuff. I like to see how this is going. Is AMD, excuse me, is AMD completely sold out? Right? Is that the problem here? I um I I have my questions, and I don't think that they'll be answered. But it's one of those things where I'm like, you know what? Come on, Intel. What is all going on here? So, uh, yeah, it's one of those things where what's all going on? Why is there something? Because I don't think that they have the greatest. I mean, I guess their server chips do pretty well overall. They're not horrible, but still with the momentum of what AMD's been able to deliver lately, especially on the server side and then PC side, where is Intel in this, right? Overall, so Intel says this WCCF Tech had this, and this CEO was talking about this, is that there was, if you look at TSMC and Chartered Semiconductors, the government is a shareholder in those countries. It is very important and realistic of the supply chain. So he was relating this to the U.S. government putting a stake into the Intel and saying it was deliberate. You know, I'm not a fan of government spending my money all over the place, right? So I'd rather them not do that. But here on this, right? Will this drive Intel to be able to produce something that gets them back into the market? Was it because of this investment, or was it because other investors jumped on it to help, support them, infuse some cash, or is it that Intel is starting to put together some good products that will get them back there, whether if that is the manufacturing side or if it's on the product side? We're going to have to wait and see on all those, right? We got 18A, 14A coming and stuff. We got Nova Lake, etc., coming down the pipeline of what they're going to be able to do. And I have some concerns about some things, especially after, Alder Lake here and then Raptor Lake, of what's happened there for those releases. But we're going to have to see what Intel kind of completes on this. And I think I've gone through Intel now as well. Oh wait, I forgot one thing of Intel, which I want to mention this, which is Intel graphics update. You have some new game support, Arc Raiders, Football Manager, Outer Worlds, or just to name a few. And I like seeing Intel to keep doing this as well. We're going to go into some other tech here real quick before we jump into the gaming side of things, which first is Micron SOCAMM2 memory. This is really interesting stuff. Um, it's a one Micron's 1 gamma DRAM process. They worked with Nvidia on this. It's based on LPDDR5X, right? And 50% of the capacity in the same footprint of the SOCAMM design, I should say, and it's 192 gigs. And so they say that they can achieve more than 2/3 lower power usage compared to the equivalent RDIMMs configuration while occupying 1/3 of the board area. Um, you can liquid cool this in the server area stuff. There's some really cool stuff here. I'd really like to see where this goes down the road. because I think that there is a lot of opportunity there for a lot of this new technology, as long as you can kind of upgrade and do stuff there. I mean, on the server side stuff, you don't have to worry too much, but there is some of that. The really cool technology here, and maybe there's going to be some more compactness and some more efficiencies that we can gain from this and lower that power usage, because any power usage, especially in the data center world, is welcomed. I mean, even in the consumer world, right? If we can get lower power usage, better performance, especially in the laptop area, a lot of people are happy. Uh, this one was a good one I was watching here. Northridge Fix, right? He basically said, don't go towards the Founders Edition RTX 5090. You can't find spare parts. So, good warning from him. Go watch his video. He does a good job there. And something, I always like repair videos. I don't do as much repair as I like because I don't have all the tools. But I do send stuff out to repair when I need it. And these repair companies that, especially that put their stuff online and show themselves doing it, do a great job overall. Qualcomm has their AI data center, which has 768 gigs of LPDDR5 per card, and these are their AI 200, AI 250 data centers. Yeah, they're racks. I don't know. I have to wait and see, right? May what I'm trying to spit out here. Maybe they're good. I have some questions, right? Because Qualcomm has not really, they've been great in mobile, but everything else has not been great delivery on it. And I'm hoping that this is great delivery, or, okay, I'll take okay delivery on it. And if they can compete with Nvidia, I'm all for it, right? But I am cautious based upon the other things I've seen from them in the past. Now, the Corsair Mp700 Pro and the Mp700 Micro, they are available. You can get some good speeds on there if you want that, some good sizes. They have up to 4 terabytes and PCI 5.0 by 4 support on these. So I just want to mention that Corsair, I have had some of the Corsair drives in the past. They've done a good job overall. I have enjoyed them, so I think they do release some good stuff overall. Let's jump over to Windows here. And Windows is going to have a proactive diagnostic of memory at some points on reboot if you are having memory related issues or issues there, to find memory related bugs, I should say. This is a move I actually really like. I'm glad that Microsoft did something like this, and overall, I hope that it can identify stuff, and if we need, if you need new memory, fine, let's swap it out. I hope it doesn't misidentify anything, right? Where somebody buys some memory and all of a sudden, oh man, this is not going to be good for us. But I think that if we can get and identify a memory issue early, and even if it's just like, as long as it's not soldered in, we can swap it out. I think that this is going to be much better for the consumers. Even being able to call somebody like me to swap out memory, I think is much easier for a consumer to do, and going to be better to keeping their machine running better for longer, and well, maybe making the Windows experience it's slightly better. So Microsoft has done some updates for their Xbox app. They're showing how some shader delivery is a little bit better for the Ally. They got some speed updates there too for downloading. I think that this is all good to be able to make the improvements here, and they still have a long way to go. This is just a stepping stone in Microsoft. You got to still deliver a lot on this, and hopefully you'll keep delivering so that there is a better experience more and more each time here. And we're going to continue on that because Microsoft CEO is talking, and it's kind of interesting, some of the stuff, right? he says, WCCF Tech had this, and they were talking about that they're the largest game publisher. Great, right? They've bought a lot of stuff. By default, you're the largest game publisher. Don't screw it up. That's been my biggest point, is that I have a feeling that they're going to screw it up. My biggest complaint about the ABK is I think they're going to screw it up, right? And so they've been going through, and I read some of the stuff here, and they were kind of thinking and being this because they he said here, at Microsoft, we build the console because we want to build a better PC, which could perform for games. I'm gonna leave that comment there. You can go read the rest from him or go listen to some of his comments if you'd like. But here's the thing. Then build the better PC. Right now you haven't. You're building the worst PC. You're going forward building worse stuff for gamers. That's not being a better PC. That's not building the better side of things. Now I'm going to be a little nitpicky here, a little bit more on them, because in the end, right, I want people that play games, people that use the computer, to have a better experience. Right? The computer really needs to be fading in the background so that you can get your work done and accomplished the way you want to get it done and accomplished. Not some way of some company somewhere thinking that they have an idea of how you should get your work done. They could give you maybe little ideas to maybe make it more efficient, but not take over that workflow. And I think Microsoft doesn't understand that at all. In fact, they're comparing how they are competing with TikTok and movies, not so much, council to council. Now, I'm going to add this here because I saw this where GameStop and to stop saying that there's a console war. Yeah, I don't know if there's really a console war. There's a console competition, right? There's a games competition. Where do you want to play your games at? And it's not really saying there. It's more of a, yeah. But this coincides with some of the stuff where the biggest competitors are TikToks and movies. That's how they consider it. And that's why, you go through, and a lot of this stuff where games are being like, we want our games everywhere. That's fine. Now you have to deliver that. If you're going to have a console, support it. If you're going to have games on PC, support it. If you're trying to make that be the better experience, make it the better experience. If you're trying to make the handhelds, make it the better experience. Make sure you're doing this. And maybe they're realizing it now. I hope they are, because I do have a lot of questions on how they're going through and kind of getting some stuff completed here. Now, I'm going to finish some of the Xbox stuff and Xbox related titles here in a little bit. Xbox, they're saying that they're doing better in Japan. I mean, that's good. They're, thanks to the growing importance of PC. That's fine, but let's also make that PC better. That goes back to my last comment. But Phil Spencer's doing this, so he's doing some speaking on that. So they're seeing some growth there, which is good to see, right? Growth in there is a benefit to the users. Hopefully they'll do there. And what Microsoft is hoping on is right now Windows is the default platform for gaming. Is that Steam SteamOS just does not take off. Bazites out there and stuff, but if SteamOS is getting enough games to play and people are enough playing it, and all of a sudden, if I start seeing new titles being tested with, SteamOS right off the bat, that does spell something for Microsoft, and then that's when they really, at that point, Microsoft has lost it, I think. They could say that they can still gain it back, that's true, but you don't want to go down to that route right away. You have Forza Motorsport series, according to Phil Spencer, being just put in the background. He says it's resting for now. Forza was fun, right? I've played some of that. I'm not a huge car driver gamer. I enjoy it when I get something. It's a lot better on controller, but it's not one of the games I go to. It's my default, right? If I want to go play something and I just want to sit there and play and really enjoy it, it's Half-Life, right? That's my Half-Life 2. I really like those games, maybe a little bit too much, but uh, I really enjoy that. And so that's one of those things where, maybe they'll come through and, do a little bit more here for it, release it here at some time down the future, but we'll see what they're able to do here and go there. So we'll move on here to Halo, which I enjoyed. Another game I really enjoyed playing, which is Halo Campaign Involved, which is coming. It's basically the remake of Combat Evolved, right? The original version of that. They're doing it on Unreal Engine 5. Looks really good overall. I think I might actually have to pick this up. Will be a campaign, won't have like multiplayer from what I've read. Looks good overall. So actually, while I like to see new games developed, this is one of those things where there's going to be some new missions and stuff also in there. So if I read it correctly, if I'm remembering correctly, because I took some notes, I'm a little bit more organized today. But I like this, giving a little bit more back to users and stuff, something I really, really like. So they're also saying that Halo 2 and 3 remakes are in the works, and Halo 7 they're saying will be a multiplayer experience. I wish that they have a campaign in Halo 7. That's kind of my favorite thing, is to do campaigns. I like to sit down and play. Well, now since I sold my Xbox, I'm standing at my computer playing. I really hope that they do something like that. We'll see. Yeah, I don't like all these games moving just all multiplayer, especially when you built kind of a lot of that with co-op and campaign modes. I like you to continue that, but what do I know? It's just change the game of how you play it halfway through it. Uh, halfway through the series, or at the end of the series, whatever it is. Um, Amazon Game Studios, Lord of the Rings, right? MMO is canceled. So that was on WCCF Tech. Looks like all the layoffs are pertaining to this. Yeah, it's sad to see. This is one of those things where, I get Amazon wanting to jump into this, but at the same time, I get a little sketchy when these companies that want to get into it have this huge idea that they want to go and jump on, and they know they got to make money at some level, and other parts of the business are basically supporting it, and then all of a sudden go poof, it's gone, and that's never a good sign here. We'll jump into what is the last couple things I want to say. Oh yeah, Battlefield RedSec, is that how you pronounce it? The free battle royale is going to launch or launch on, not in, October 28th. This should be fun to see how the reception is. That's going to be matches of 100 players and playable areas and contracts over time. The contact with barriers to eliminate players. We'll see how this really develops, because I think there's one thing here that they're building off the Battlefield 6 momentum of the success they've had, and we'll see if this is going to have that same success kind of coming into it, because if it does, this could be a really nice thing for EA of how they're able to keep building off of that, Battlefield 6, of how they really kind of turn that franchise around a lot. Good to see. We'll see how it is. I have not played Battlefield 6. I don't even have it yet, but it's something did look really interesting. I'm glad that they're a success, because some of those Battlefield games, right, I played back in the day, and I'm just like, ooh, I remember those, and there's some nostalgia there. But we're going to end on this one, which is my favorite news actually of the day, or the week, I should say, which is Half-Life 3 optimizations are continuing to be happen. There's a trailer supposedly being prepared. We might get the Half-Life 3 at some point. WCCF Tech had this rumor, and there was Tyler McVicker on YouTube. Highly recommend to go there if you want to keep up on the Half-Life files. You know, this is something I've wanted for many, many years, right? Many, many years. And I'm excited that it may actually happen at some point. I would be enthused to play it. In fact, I'd probably be the one game I buy right away and play. And I'd be very excited about it. I'd probably very well enjoy it just because of all the nostalgia. Hopefully, it's a good game. It's a game that you can enjoy, right? I want the good development there, but yeah, one of those things I am very, very excited about. I've always wanted to play Half-Life Alyx as well, but I think you can play it without the headset, and I maybe try to go through that route because I do not have a VR headset. But I'm Half-Life is my favorite game, right? So this is one of those things that, as long as they don't ruin it for me, it will probably continue to be my favorite game series. So. With that, let me know what your thoughts are this week on the news. If you have missed anything, put it in the comments below. Thank you so much for helping out this channel and helping it grow. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, watch another one of my videos. That really does help with the channel. And until next time, God bless.